ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। यः प्रव्रजन्तमनपेत अपेतकृत्य द्वैपायनो विरह कातर आजुहाव। पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवो विनेदुस् तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मणिमानतोऽस्मि। यस्यानुभावमखिलश्रुतिसारमेकम् अध्यात्मदीप अतिथिर्षतां तमोऽन्धम् संसारिणा करुणयाः पुराणगुह्यं तं व्याससूनुपयामि गुरुं मुनीनाम्। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नितिनामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। करोतु वाचालं पङ्गुं गिरि यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं। यस्मादहं विगतविक्लवैश्वरस्य सर्वात्मनामहि गृणामि यथा मनीषम्। नीचोजयो गुणविसर्ग अनुप्रविष्ट पूयेत हि पुमानमर्यते। Hare Krishna. So, welcome all of you for a continuation of Bhakti Vaibhav. In this unit, the last chapter in this section, 3.9 to 12. So, we have been discussing from Brahmaji's prayer onwards, and then we discussed about time. And now we are going to discuss how Brahmaji received blessings of Lord, right? And after that, there was a detour for inquiry about time and what happened afterwards. So Brahmaji. So now we'll see after getting blessings how Brahmaji is engaged in his service and what are challenges he faces, right, in this chapter. So as I was showing before, this, so this is the context of discussion. So the discussion of Padma Kalpa had begun in the chapter 8 in the previous unit. And that same thing is continuing now. Maitreya Muni is explaining him after explaining Chatushloki in 5 to 7, 3.5 to 7. Then he starts telling about Padma Kalpa to answer his many questions. So starts from 8th chapter, and then Brahma manifested and Brahmaji offered prayers. So those prayers we discussed. And then chapter 10 we saw Prakrita and Vakrita creations, but they were told with the purpose to explain about time. Because Maitreya asked about so general characteristics and specific characteristics. So both were explained. So specific characteristics of time is what we discussed last Saturday, Sunday, the other Sunday, and 11th chapter. Right? So, and now the 12th chapter is elaboration of Vaikritana. So earlier it was just told Vaikrita, 4 types of people: animals, trees, and humans and demigods. Right? They were created, varieties. But now elaboration of further Visarga or Vaikrita is told. That's the context of discussion. And the breakup of this chapter is like this. So the Prabhupada titles this chapter as Creation of Kumaras and Others. So many things happen in this chapter. As you see, the first 3 chapters is Brahmaji creates the 5 layers of ignorance. And then Kumara and Rudra, they are created and they respond. They reciprocate with Brahma in different way. We'll see how they reciprocate. And then Brahma creates the 10 sons, the sages and others. And the walk episode where Brahmaji getting distracted. Brahmaji's power of creation is not diminished due to this act. That is further told by Maitreya specifically. And then Swayambhu, Manu and Shatrupa are created. So that's how this, there are many 57 verses as such, but we have today and tomorrow, so we'll be able to complete Krishnavali. Yes, so this is how the chapter is set. So actually, you can see the whole context is Brahmaji being our founder Acharya, the original founder Acharya, is teaching us actually how we should approach Lord, what we should pray, how we should pray, and then how we should respond to the Lord's requests, and stick to it, right? And even after meeting Lord, he faces challenges, and that was seen in the first 10 verses of previous chapter. And now in this chapter, we can see how many challenges Brahmaji is facing in his service to the Supreme Lord, although he is the best living entity. So many challenges. So that's what is written here. Sincere devotee undergoes many challenges while executing his pure devotional service. So he will have dissatisfaction. So that was there when he created ignorance to cover the living entities. So he was not happy for making them covered. Then 4 Kumaras came and he instructed them, but they disobeyed him. The first creation only. And then there is a disturbance or destruction created by Rudra. Then he himself got distracted to walk episode. And then he created, there was deficiency in the sages also were not able to create with the pace which he wanted to. So there was deficiency which he felt. But he goes on. He goes on with his service with great diligence and determination, while he is completely dependent on mercy of Lord. So this is all depicted by our original founder Acharya here. While beginning to create this material world, he is having challenges when he is alone, practically alone, not to speak of after now. So surely there will be challenges in the material world. So that's what Brahmaji is teaching us. However, this distraction episode of walk is not this particular Brahma. Okay. So that is told clearly by the Acharyas. This was not this Brahma. Because if he hears Chatushloki, how he can become bewildered like this. So that's what. So this is how the chapter is set to. Brahmaji is teaching us actually how he has to face challenges and he perseveres in his service to Krishna. So let us go into this thing now, the verses. So before we go, surely we'll remember the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. सर्वशास्त्राब्धि पीयूष सर्ववेदैक सत्फल सर्वसिद्धांत रत्नाढ्य सर्वलोकैक दृक्प्रद सर्वभागवत प्राण श्रीमद्भागवत प्रभु कलौ ध्वान्तोदितोदित्य श्रीकृष्ण परिवर्तित परमानंद पाठाय प्रेम वर्षाक्षराय ते सर्वदा सर्वसेव्याय श्रीकृष्णाय नमोऽस्तु मदेकबन्धो मत्सङ्गी मद्गुरो मद्महाधनः मन्निस्तारकमद्भाग्य मदानन्दनमोऽस्तु ते असाधु साधु तादायिन् अतीनीचोच्चतारक मानामञ्च कदाचिन्मा प्रेम्णा स्फुरा श्रीमद्भागवत महापुराण की जय। So this Srimad Bhagavatam is very glorious scripture. I think some of you might have heard today's Bhagavatam, brilliant Bhagavatam class by Skala Chakra Krishna Prabhu. If you have not heard, please hear. If you miss this class also, there is no problem. Because actually that's the Bhagavatam, no? The pure message of Bhagavatam. If we take it up, then it's of great strength to practice our Krishna consciousness in wherever we are situated, whatever situation we are in. And Brahmaji is showing us that, and he was quoting one verse after when Mataji asked nice question about how do we develop taste for this Bhagavatam. I don't have taste. When I study prayers or some philosophy, I don't feel encouraged, etc. Like that sincere question was asked. So Prabhuji answered very nicely. He quoted one verse there. That verse is Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Atra Paramaham Samekamamalam Jnanam Param Giyati Atra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarmama Vishkritam Yat Shunvan Supatan Vicharan Paro Bhaktya Vimuchen Naraha. So of course he quoted the last line, telling that Bhagavatam has to be approached with these three things. Yat Shunvan. So we have to do Shravan nicely. Then Supatan. So Shravan, of course, when we study Bhagavatam, we are hearing from Srila Prabhupada directly. Then Supatan. So it is not just Patan. We have to study repetitively, you are saying. Study reflectively. Every line we should try to reflect upon it. Supatan. It is not Patan. And then Vicharana Paro. Then we contemplate on it, how do I going to live by this principle, which is told in Srimad Bhagavatam. So then we will develop, like that he was telling, that then we will develop surely some inclination, some taste, some interest in this form of Krishna, which is all the time available to help us. Right? So this Bhagavatam, you don't have to even go to temple, deities you have to go. Bhagavatam is there with you in home. But we have to access it. So that's what Prabhuji was so nicely saying, because he is accessing and he is helping everyone access so much Bhagavatam. Because he got very close association of His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj, who was a person Bhagavad himself. So that way, with that some reflection, let us begin this wonderful chapter of Brahmaji, who is our original founder-acharya. So let us begin. And this point. Right. So I request all the devotees to give their darshan to all other devotees. Of course, most of you have switched off, so that we are encouraged, inspired to join. Yes, so chapter 12, creation of the Kumaras and others. Text 1. Maitreya Uvacha Itite Varnitah Kshattah Kalakhyah Paramatmanah Mahima Veda Garbhotha Yatha Strakshin Bodhame. Please read the translation.
Sri Maitreya said, O learned Vidura, so far I have explained to you the glories of the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his feature of Kala. Now you can hear from me about the creation of Brahma, the reservoir of all Vedic knowledge.
Yeah. So he's coming back to the Padma Kalpa description. Right? So we have spoken about time. So we discussed in the previous chapter the relativity of this time which we experience in the material world, and how it is just relativity all the time. Brahmaji is also fearing time, ant is also fearing time, and everyone else. Everyone has different lifespans, but it's all relative. It is insignificant in comparison with Mahavishnu's time, right? And we saw how Mahavishnu's space is also so huge, right? The the time and space are interrelated, that all things we saw. So that's how Maitreya is saying, I have explained to you the glories of form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in feature of Kal. So see, the time is also seen in connection with Krishna. So Maya means if you see something without connection with Krishna. So Kalakya Paramatmanaha, that is the form of the time, form of the Lord, which is in form of the time. And he's saying Veda Garbha. So Veda Garbha, like today also, there was discussion on 2.9, I think, or 3.9. Ma Veda Garbha Gastandri. Please give up distress, Brahmaji. So now the same address is being used here, Veda Garbha. So which he encompasses, he has all the Vedic sound vibration within him. That's why he's called Veda Garbha. So he propagates the teachings of Vedas, Brahma. That's why it's called Veda Garbha. So that's why that is there. And then he is telling, now I will tell further what he did. So please hear attentively. Nibodhame. Asrakshit. So how he created. So that is what is the first verse speaking. So time, as we saw in the last time, that how the shallowness and the hollowness and the factual reality of the time, the relative time of this world. How everything is created, destroyed, maintained and destroyed. That's why the time is used. Whatever we use terminology of time, that indicates that it is going closer to the destruction. Right? So that's what was told. Now he is going further. So what he does, so first he creates the 5 layers of ignorance. Right? Yeah. Text 2. Sasarjagrandhatamisra athatamisra madikrit mahamoham cha moham cha tamascha jnana vrittayah.
Translation. Brahma first created the nascent engagements like self deception, the sense of death, anger after frustration, the sense of false ownership, and the illusory bodily conception or forgetfulness of one's real identity.
Yeah. So the 5 layers, Brahma created what? Tamascha ajnana vrittayah. Ajnana vrittayah. The engagements of nations. Very interesting. Vritti is engagement also. Or the 5 layers of ignorance, you can say. So, Sasar Jagre, the first thing when we enter in the material world is we are covered over. Because without that we cannot enjoy this world. So, what are those? So, there are 5. Andha Tamishram, Mahamoham, Moham, and Tamas. So it is starting from the deepest and the thickest layer of ignorance, that is Andha Tamishra, to the thinnest layer, that is Tamas. So that's how he created first these 5. So earlier also we had discussed little bit about this in the 6th creation of Maya, right? So earlier, like you can see here, the functions of ignorance had already been established. Right? The 6th creation of Prakruta creation was avidya, isn't it? So that was already, functions of ignorance have been established earlier. But at the beginning of the daily creation, they make their appearance. So that is explained now. So avidya was created that time, by which a Prabhu thinks himself to be the what is fool. No? Like that was the verse, right? The sixth creation, by which the living entity who is actually spiritual, he thinks himself foolish, right? That's what. So that was established, but now it makes its appearance through Brahma. So Brahmaji first creates this layers at the beginning of daily creation. It's something like putting into the covering our eyes, because that's why the tamas and it is called darkness, right? Tamas is darkness. So darkness means we cannot see. That's why it's equivalent to putting this. So we have seen earlier what are these 5 layers. So we'll see now in little more detail, because Prabhupada also explains them. So that's what Prabhupada writes. Before the factual creation of the living entities in different varieties of species, the conditions under which a living being in the material world has to live were created by Brahma. So has to live, because if pure condition, if he is brought here, he will not able to enjoy, identify with anything and enjoy. He has desire, but he needs some facility to actually experience and his desires. So he has to live in the material world. So that conditions are created. Unless living entity forgets his real identity, it is impossible for him to live in the material conditions of life. Therefore, the first condition of material existence is forgetfulness of his real identity. So this is avidya, or this is tamas in the current terminology of Brahma, the Bhagavatam. So avidya, asmita, rag, dvish, abhinivesh are equivalent to tamas, moha, mahamoha, tamishra, and the tamish. So these are equivalent. Okay. So that's what is told here. So the first thing is avidya. So first thing is you are made forgetful of what you are as a soul or as a servant of Krishna. So that is first covered. That is first layer. That is avidya. And then what is the next layer? And the forgetting one's identity, one's real identity, one is sure to be afraid of death. Although pure living soul is deathless and birthless. So what fear leads to? It is, sorry, forgetfulness leads to death, right? So bhayam dvitiya abhiniveshatasya. The cause of fear is this forgetfulness. So, but what happens by that avidya is this false identification with material nature is the cause of false ownership of things. So you see, first avidya is covering you from your real identity, but that is not enough. If you want to act, you have to be given some other identity, right? So that is called asmita, or that is called moha. So that is identification with material nature, some designation, some identity which is false. Aham asmi. So that is why it is called asmita. So that is the second layer of ignorance. And because of that, what happens? It is the cause of ownership of things. That is called raga. Attachment to things related to that identification. And hate for the things which are averse to enjoyment in that designation. That is called dvesha, which are offered by the arrangement of the superior control. All the material resources are offered to the living entity for his peaceful living and for discharge of duties of self-realization in conditioning. But due to false identification, the conditioned soul becomes entrapped by the sense of false ownership of the proprietary of the Supreme. So Prabhupada is telling further consequence of that. So there is rag, and then there is dvesh, and there is abhinivesh. That is the absorption. So entrapment is all absorption in matter. So that's what is this, if you can see here. And height of that is, height of Maya's covering is, Prabhupada says, no, the last snare of Maya. It is simply ludicrous to think that the living entity to be equal with the Supreme Being, when one can understand that the conditioned souls are under influence of Brahmaji's magic wand. So that's what Prabhupada says, no? That last snare of Maya is to Mayavadis who think that I am one with the Lord. So they are having maximum ignorance. And then Prabhupada ends, Patanjali also accepts that there are 5 kinds of nations as mentioned here. So this already I told. So they are called this, as I told, Avidya, Asmita, Ragdvesh, Abhinivesh. That they are the terminologies of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Right? So this already I explained. Basically, see, Moha Dehado Aham Aropa. You get another identity of matter. Then Mahamoha is Bhoktavya Vishesho Mamata Avaropa. So Aham Aropa is Asmita, and Mama Aropa or Mamatva is Mahamoha. And I and mine, right? We say the essence of mental life is mental consciousness is I and mine. So Ahamta Arop Mamatva Arop, for the sake of Bhoktavya. And more the deeper than that is Tamishra. Bhoga Pratigrahe Sati Antakarana Dharmasya Krodhasya Svikara. So when your sense gratification, I and mine is opposed, then one becomes angry. So that is Tamishra. And Andha Tamishra is, or Dvish. Or Andha Tamishra is complete absorption in that. Tatascha Andha Tamishra, Krodha Tanmayi Bhava Rupa Murchitva or Maranam. And he dies with them. So that is the 5 layers. So this is how this is telling, right? So this and the following verses show how the function. So this is the next verse link. So let us see this 5 layers. Already we have seen, but in the bigger context of creation of Maya. So this we have seen earlier. Only thing now we are zooming into it. Zooming into the Avidya portion, which is actually the Maya has 3 vrittis, right? Pradhan, which is real, 24 elements. And Avidya is what currently created by Brahma, the 5 layers. And the next creation is of Vidya, okay? Through 4 Kumaras. So that's how this creation is happening here. So the 5 layers, as I told, that is unreal. So all the experiences of this world are unreal actually, because they are coming through this layers of Maya, right? Beginning with Tamas, Moha, Mahamoha, Tamishra, and Andhatamishra. Right? So these same things are designated also, as Prabhupada says in lectures, Avaranatmika Shakti of Maya and Prakshepatmika Shakti. So Avaranatmika is covers you up. So that is called Avidya. Your original identity is Avarana. It is covered up. And then Prakshepatmika means you are like, Prakshepan hota hai. Some satellite is Prakshepan, means one is thrown. That you take this material identity. Okay, you are a man, you are a woman, you are a brahmachari, you are Indian, or you are whatever. So that is called Asmita. And Asmita only is the root of other 3. Because Asmita only, see, I, the sense of I, create sense of mind, that is Mahamoha, and then sense of Dvesh also, and then absorption also. So that's why they are all part of Prakshepatmika Shakti. So this is how these 5 layers are created. So the beauty of Bhakti is it directly attacks the root layer of Avidya. However, all other processes, they are able to remove the 4 layers and come to understand that Aham Brahmasmi, I am not this body, I am spirit soul. But there is no sense of true ego fully awakened. They just understand I am spirit soul. So that's why again there is a chance for them to fall down. So we see that in many examples in scriptures, right? Vishwamitra Muni, Shaubari Muni, and so many others, right? Although they have conquered the 4 layers of Maya, there is no Moha, Mahamoha, Tamishra, Andha Tamishra. But the Avidya portion is there. So because of that, everything else again comes up, right? Vishwamitra becomes first angry, then, lusty, then egoistic, and so on. or Shaubari Muni gets into it again in spite of giving it up, right? Actually, unless the true ego has awakened, false ego has all anarthas in zipped condition. They can awaken anytime. So that's what is the case. The glory of bhakti is directly removing the inside most layer, that is avidya. Jiva Swarupa, Krishna Nityada. So that's how it is the most effective and efficient and profound process of bhakti, which directly approaches the deepest thing. And then, so these 5 layers create the unreal experiences in the material world for Jivatma. And he becomes absorbed in them. He wants to enjoy, etc. But the same external energy of Lord has created Vidya Shakti also, by which this illusion is gradually removed. So that Vidya is going to manifest in the next verses through 4 Kumara. So material world is composed of real and unreal, is produced by Pradhana and Avidya. But the real perception of material world is given by Vidya. So what Vidya does is, it destroys the 5 layers of ignorance by the 4 practices. They are what? The Sankhya, Yoga, Tapas, and Vairagya. So as I have written, now we are discussing chapter 12. So 4 Kumaras represent this. So these 4 activities, if anyone does, then he starts understanding the real nature of this world. The reality is seen by that person. However, only by Vidya one cannot completely revive his true position. Right? Mahamaya's 3 Vrittis. So this is how this is said. Now the next is creation of Vidya. So that's what is written here. Thus, this and the following verses show how the functions of Vidya appeared. Now, in the form of Kumaras and other from Brahma, in order to show that the knowledge or Vidya destroys the ignorance or avidya. Of course, so this will be there from 4th verse. Now, Brahmaji's compassionate heart comes out as a Vaishnava. So that is text 3. Društva papi yasam srishtim natmanam bahupamanyata Bhagavan dhyana putena manasayanam tato srijat. Yeah, please read.
Seeing such a misleading creation as a sinful task, Brahma did not feel much pleasure in his activity, and therefore he purified himself by meditation on the personality of Godhead. Then he began another term of creation.
Yeah, so see, being a Vaishnava, he was not happy to create and cover the living entities because they are going to be bewildered. They will not be able to perceive the Supreme Lord. So he was not very happy with that. Društva papi yasim srishti. Natmanam. He was not happy internally. So what he did, he meditated on the Lord, he purified himself and continued his service. So Prabhupada mentions about this. The question may be raised that why the Lord, who is all merciful, helps one remember and another forget. So Prabhupada is writing about why Lord is putting living entity into ignorance or forgetfulness. It is not the partiality of Lord. So that was discussed today and last in NVCC, right? So why Lord does what Lord does? It is not because of his desire. It is because living entity desires. He wants to misuse his independence. That's why Lord has to facilitate that by creating a system where he gets a very nice experience without God. So that is the Lord's nature. So that's what Prabhupada defends and says what is the nature of Lord. Please understand. So yeah, please read this. Anyone who has
some independence may sometimes misuse it due to ignorance. When the living entity prefers to misuse independence and glide down towards nescience, the all-merciful Lord first of all tries to protect him from the trap. But when the living entity persists in gliding down to hell, Lord helps him to forget his real position. The Lord helps the falling living entity glide down to the lower point, just to give him the chance to see if he is happy by misusing his independence.
Yeah, this is almost.
Almost all the conditioned soul who are rotting in the material world are misusing their independence, and therefore 5 kinds of nescience are imposed upon them.
Yeah. So the 5 kinds of nations are imposed because of misuse of independence. As soon as you try to use your independence properly, then the 5 kinds of ignorance will diminish their actions and their influence. So that is the point. And then Prabhupada is saying initially Lord tries to help that. But if he is persisting, he wants that only, then he says, okay, continue. Just as Prabhupada gives example of a mother and child. Child wants to cook. I want to cook. I want to cook. So mother says, no, what you will cook? You don't know. You cannot cook now. No, no, no. She starts crying. Then mother says, okay, fine. You want to cook? You take this and try. So like that. First, he tries to protect the living entity from trap. But if he persists, then Lord covers him up by this. So that is how he is saying. So actually, that's why we say that the guilt which comes in the heart of a living entity initially when he is doing something wrong is that one symptom of that. But when one starts doing the same thing, then the whole guilt or whole wrong feeling is also gone. And one is and then when God gets into atheistic ideologies, and then he convinces himself and others to do wrong activities, right? And he is completely illusion, like someone taking cocaine. He knows that everyone else is getting drugs and they are dying, but he gets a conviction that actually, yes, it is affecting others, but it will not affect him. Or Hiranyakashipu trying to kill Lord Narasimha. But he was convinced. From where the conviction came? Because of his perverted desire. Lord has to pervert his intelligence to be convinced of what he wants to do. So actually, uh, the Lord perverts to the degree our intentions are like that. We will be convinced in the wrong ideologies and wrong activities when we are having wrong intention. So because Lord is reciprocating. So that is what is said here. And a devotee's nature is not like that. So because a devotee of Lord naturally does not like to see anyone falling down from his real position. So Brahmaji was also displeased. Yeah. So now then the next thing is this. So why this actually, as Prabhupada is saying here, right? 5 kinds of nations are imposed when there is misuse of independence. So this misuse happens because of false ego, false identification, asmita, and avidya as well. So as soon as false ego is given up by living entity, then there is no material existence. Material world exists, but there is no material existence. Means what? The material existence doesn't burn the living entity. That we say, na samsara davana nalidalo. So material existence is not, doesn't appear like material existence in terms of its samsara davana. Right? As soon as false ego is strived to be given up. But material world remains, but no material existence. When we give up false ego, and the bhakti is the only monopoly, only process by which false ego can be completely given up because of awakening of true ego is bhakti, and no other person. So that is the case. So now the 4 aspects of Vidya are created, as I told, Sankhya, Yoga, Vairagya, and Tapasya. They appeared in form of 4 Kumars. Sanakam cha sanandam cha sanatanamatha mabhu sanatkumaram cha munim nishkriyam urdhvare tasaha. Yeah, please read.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Sorry, Prabhuji, to interrupt you in between.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, in previous shloka, I'm having question. Can I ask, Prabhu?
Okay. Yes.
Prabhuji, you have already given the answer, but still, in a short span of time, I forgot. I didn't understood it, Prabhuji. Like in this shloka, they have explained that Lord Krishna is there in everyone's heart as Paramatma situated. But still, how one can understand that one is misusing their independence? You have already given an answer, Prabhuji, but still, I'm confused, Prabhuji.
How one
How I would
that's right.
understand that whatever independence have been given, because Lord is there to help us that whether I'm taking right decision or wrong decision, rather than decision. I mean, I'm confused, Prabhuji.
Yeah, so here Prabhupada is telling two levels that initially Lord helps to not enter into the trap. But once one want to persist that I want to go in trap only, then Lord helps to fulfill his desires, which are against the Lord's desire. So both things Lord is doing. That's what Prabhupada is writing here. The Lord helps him to forget his real position because of the persistence of living in it. So now, having said that, now what you are asking that how I can understand whether I am misusing the independence or not. That's what you are asking. Or?
Yes, Prabhuji. How I can restrict myself, or how I should know first of all that I'm misusing my independence given to me. And if I understood, first of all, how I understood, how I know, and in case if I know by that intelligence, Lord is situated in everyone's heart as Paramatma, then how to take care of, even if I'm urged to do that thing which is not good, I know, but still how I control myself, what should I do?
Yeah, see, as actually, although Lord is there in the heart, but it's not easy to hear Him and get instructed from Him. That's why His same person manifests externally as spiritual master. Chaitya Guru manifests himself as spiritual master. So he speaks the same thing actually, and that becomes more practical to day-to-day life to understand actually that how whether I'm misusing or not using by trying to obey the spiritual master. So that is one level of understanding. So when we are striving to follow the instructions which are given to us, especially personally or in general, whatever. But that is the way Lord helps through spiritual master. Guru Krishna Prasad Paya Bhaktivedanta Rajavidyalaya. Because understanding from Paramatma is, because as I told, it is not to be heard, right? There are so many noises of anarthas, so we can't hear the Lord's reciprocation. So that's how he comes through spiritual master. So trying to go closer to living by the orders of spiritual master, we can understand to some degree that okay, am I misusing or not? When I am misusing. So that is one reflection which I think. And secondly, as I told, example of guilt, guilt, from where the guilt comes when one does some inappropriate activity. The guilt is coming from within. So that is another thing. But the point is, if you, like Radheshampu gives that example, if you use the earlier day phones are there. So you again and again use, it gets blunt. So guilt, then that guilt also goes on. Right? So that's how it takes uh, introspection to detect the guilt as well in the current day scenario of how the wrong activities are encouraged. So it is even difficult to experience guilt and express guilt because guilt is coming as an indication of the supreme law of doing some
Prabhuji, I have
wrong.
a question. Does guilt is given by Paramatma?
So that's what I have heard. I have not read anywhere, studied, but that is one of the symptoms because from where it is coming, if you do something wrong, you feel in your heart of your hearts, you feel, may I have done something, right? And Prabhupada is writing here, right? First, When a living entity prefers to misuse and glide down, all mercy first of all tries to protect him. So what kind of protection? So one of the thing what I thought was that, anyone has any other thoughts you can express? So through devotees or whatever. Because Lord personally reciprocation is happens at level of bhava and prema, right? Madhavendra Puri and all that, right? But generally he reciprocates through devotees, and as Paramatma may give some feeling like guilt and all. So we can consider, because it is coming from within, isn't it, Ramkishore? The guilt comes from within, isn't it? The conscience, we say conscience is speaking, isn't it? We use this word, right? Conscience. Something within is giving some indication. Don't do it. So that is that only. It is the Lord. So that's why we have to try to, as I told, more it becomes blunt, more it cannot be detected also. One doesn't feel any problem while doing anything wrong. That is the most dangerous thing. Does that help, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Ha, Prabhuji. Can anyone become free from sin or aparadha due to after feeling guilt?
Does anyone become free from sin and aparadha? Surely he can become. Becoming free from sin is very easy, which you are doing already, chanting Hare Krishna, practicing bhakti, hearing bhakti. But getting free from aparadha is getting free from envy. So that is the big thing. That is called purifying the heart. So that's all our process is. More we become, try to purify our heart, more we understand how offensive we are. Initially, we don't even understand that we are committing offenses. Then we start understanding that we are committing offenses, we are displeasing someone, like that. So that is our whole process of purification of heart. Because essence of aparadha is action out of envy. And envy is something which is the only prohibition in the spiritual world. So we understand envy and recognize it and curb it. So I hope I have shown that slide of envy here. What is envy? You have seen that? You remember? I don't remember whether I showed it here or not.
I don't think so, Prabhuji.
What is definition of envy? What it means?
No.
Okay, so maybe I'll show quickly what is that. Because that is the only impediment in our practice. So basically there are two things. I'm just opening. In the opening I am telling that envy is called matsara or asuya. So matsara means para utkarsha asahishnuta. Para utkarsha asahishnuta means not able to tolerate others' flourishment in anything, materially, spiritually, anything. So that is the first definition. So its level of emotion, it is unable to tolerate. And then asuya is what? Asuya is the guneshi dosha avishkaram. Yeah, I am just showing this slide now to you. Yeah. So yes, para utkarsha asahanam. So this I told. Asuya means guneshu dosha avishkar. There are a lot of good qualities, but we see faults and we advertise those faults. That is called asuya. And you see Bhagavad Gita, this word comes time and again. My dear Arjuna, I am telling you this secret because you don't have envy, asuya, anasuya way. So this restricts. Bhagavatam begins with nirmatsaranam satam, right? We cannot appreciate, understand Srimad Bhagavatam with this. So But more amazing definitions are given by current acharyas, that like Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj. So he gave definition of envy as minimizing others' existence. So in his presence or without his presence, if we are speaking negatively about someone, that is reducing his existence. What do you mean? If I speak ill about some other devotee, especially to someone else, without his knowledge, but the other devotee has some position in his heart about that devotee, right? So he has some existence in ether. So by speaking the ninda, we are reducing his existence. So it's a very when I read this, I was like shocked. I was no, I was moved by this definition. So that's why, as Mahaprabhu said, he raised arms and said that chant Hare Krishna and don't criticize devotees. Then I will take you back to Godhead. Right? Or don't offend devotees. So that is what is this minimizing existence of others. And one more definition given by His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj in this lecture is amazing. He says, see, it is like an acronym which I try to, which is given. So he says that evolution of negativity in our heart. So this is the rootest. Evolution is the beginning of envy. Towards Vaishnavas, because of we are yearning to prove that I am significant, I am important, I am better. So we are yearning for that. And someone says something to us, then some negativity pops in our heart. That is the beginning of envy. Like that, he says. So this is envy. And this envy goes on increasing if we don't address it at right time. It's like a cancer. Cancer is there in 4 stages. So after 3rd and 4th stage, we can't do anything. The first 2 stages are like negativity. You start disliking, disrespect and disregard, then develop some hatred and criticism, then blasphemy. Or you are staying together, then you don't want to see each other. Like, this is all Radhan Swami Maharaj says in that lecture. And then you don't want to serve together, and you don't want to stay in the same place. You want to shift the place and all that. So this is all increase of it. So see what Prabhupada is writing. This is a very short. Please read this purport line of Prabhupada. Initially, a devotee must be.
Devotee must therefore be completely freed from envy, especially of other devotees. To envy other devotees is a great offense, a Vaishnava aparadh. A devotee who constantly engages in hearing and chanting Shravan Kirtan is certainly freed from the disease of envy, and thus he becomes eligible to go back home, back to Godhead.
Yeah. So that is the thing. Because we envy anyone in this world, we are envying the Supreme Lord. Then how can we hear about him? So it's connected. So this verse is nothing but the Falashruti of Lord Ram Charitra. Purusho Rama Charitam Shavanair Upadharayam Anrishamsa Paro Rajam, etc. So very strong lines. If you can read this purport. Actually, the whole purport should be pasted here. But I have pasted just 3 lines. It's a very eye-opening purport of Prabhupada. And same thing you see, Skanda Puran says about the spectrum of offense. Since you asked about offense, right? So there is a spectrum of offense. So the most gravest offense is to kill a Vaishnava. But the most finer offense is not to greet a Vaishnava, not to become happy to see a Vaishnava. So everything else is within. Right? Anti nindanti na vaidveshti Vaishnavanam na vinandati kruddhate yati che no harsham darshane patanani shat. Whoever kills or blasphemes a Vaishnava, whoever is envious or angry with a Vaishnava, and whoever does not offer proper greetings or feel joy upon seeing a Vaishnava, certainly becomes fallen. Right? So this is the spectrum of offense. Not becoming joyful upon seeing Vaishnava, which is the beginning of some negativity, dislike, and then highest is killing the Vaishnava. Right? So they are all different shades of offense, and one has to work upon getting rid of them. So this is the only impediment and to be dealt with while avoiding aparadha. So I hope it helps, Mataji. Fine, so we'll go ahead. Now, the fourth verse, fourth verse I think we read, no? Translation. Did we read translation of the fourth verse? I remember reciting the verse, but I don't think so. Maybe you can read the translation.
In the beginning, Brahma created four great sages named Sanak, Sananda, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumar. All of them were unwilling to adopt materialistic activities because they were highly elevated due to their semens flowing upwards.
Yeah. So these four Kumaras are representing Vidya potency. So Avidya is created, now Vidya is created to destroy the Avidya through form of four Kumaras, and the four activities are being emphasized by which person will remove the layers of ignorance. So Prabhupada also writes that in purport you can see. He was not satisfied in performing such kinds of thankless tasks of creating ignorance. He therefore created four principles of knowledge. Right? Sankhya, Yoga, Vairagya, and Tapas. So they are defined here, which you can see. So, and they started Sampradaya, right? Four Kumaras are devotees. So they started Kumar Sampradaya, where they are acharyas. So that's what Prabhupada is saying here. So we can understand that all these sages became great devotees. So this pastime, I think, already you have discussed. No? No, you are going to discuss, right? It is going to come in the next section is this only, how they became devotees, right? So that is going to come in the 3.15. Now 3.12 is going on, right? So 3.15, the great sages become great devotees. The most mysterious pastime of Jai Vijay getting cursed by four Kumaras, that is going to come. For without devotional service to personality of Godhead, one cannot achieve success in any activity of spiritual value. So this is what I was telling, that all this Sankhya, Yoga, Vairagya, Tapas practice can remove the four layers of ignorance, but not the fifth layer, that is Avidya. So Bhakti has to be added to actually become successful in any of them. So that's what is Prabhupada saying in the last line. And without Bhakti, they will be cause of anger. So that will come in the next few verses. So now what happened? Thus even the Kumara also have Bhakti, and Bhakti as the principal element takes the form of Narada. So that is told now only. What happened after that? Please read the translation.
My dear sons, Brahma spoke to his sons after generating them. My dear sons, he said, now generate progeny, but due to their being attached to Vasudev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they aimed at liberation and therefore they expressed their unwillingness.
So he told, Tan babhashe swabhu putran praja sarjata putrakaha. Putrakaha praja sarjata. His children, please create praja. Tan naichan moksha dharma. Tan naichan, they said no. Because moksha dharma, they are interested in liberation, and Vasudeva Parayana, they are devotees of Lord. So they express their unwillingness. Tan naichan. So that's what they did. So the whole creation is beginning with disobedience by the children to the father. Right? So it's nothing astonishing if any child is disobedient. What to speak of if child is disobedient to join ISKCON, that also will be there. There's something similar which is happening here. So Kamal Lochan Prabhu used to say, he was telling that once one father whose son had joined the temple, he came to meet him. So Kamal Lochan Prabhu said, it's not new. At the dawn of creation also same thing happened. The children rejected their father. But the glory is the higher purpose is there. Right? So, but the point is same, whether whatever it is, the disobedience of children has to be properly dealt with. That is the very important lesson which Brahmaji is teaching us here. Through this whole chapter, because that is important. So let us see. There are many things here. So Prabhupada says that there is nothing wrong in their disagreeing, because they are serious about moksha dharmano narayana parayana, right? So Prabhupada is emphasizing the point that someone who is serious moksha dharmano person, he has no duties in this world. Even if he is a son, he can forego the duty of son if he is really interested in liberation. He is really interested in devotional service. It is not just a superficial avoidance of some challenges in life. No. The reply is that one who is Vasudeva Parayana or is seriously engaged in devotional service of the personality of Godhead Vasudeva need not care for any other obligation. So this goes to show that it's a very serious acceptance of bhakti through pure faith by some person. It is not necessarily a sentimental or occasional or I would say relief-seeking acceptance of bhakti. That is not spoken here. Someone who is seriously engaged in bhakti. So Prabhupada, for him there is no obligation, and he quotes this famous verse, Devarshi Bhutaptananam Pitrina. So there you see the same principle. Sarvatmanah sharanam charanyam gato mukundam parivrittikarta. So one with all his heart and soul has taken shelter of someone who is worthy of shelter, that is Mukunda. For him, these 6 or 8 depths don't exist. Right? So that is the thing. That is the principle here. However, a sincere devotee never feels that I have fully surrendered. So he never feels that I am free from debt from any of these. Although he might be practicing renunciation or practicing Sarvatmana Bhakti, but he never feels that, okay, I am free from all debt. No. Even Vitrasur was saying that I was debtor to my brother. No? So that is the thing. But the principle is very clear that, yeah, he doesn't have any debt. Because seriously engaged in devotional service. Sarvatmana, yes, Sharanam. So there was nothing wrong, Prabhupada says. Thus, there was nothing wrong in the acts of the Kumaras when they refused their father's request that they become family men. Right? So that's what Prabhupada is telling. What happened ahead? So what happened to Brahma? That is told. So avadhyata suteraivam pratyakhyatan shasanaihi krodham durvishaham jatam niyantum upachakrame. Yeah, please read the translation.
On the refusal of the sons to obey the order of their father, there was much anger generated in the mind of Brahma, which he tried to control and not express.
Yeah. So this is the sincerity of Brahma. So he was little disturbed, and rather he became angry. The more disturbance is anger. So, but he tried to control. Krodham durvishaham jat. The durvishaha is very difficult to tolerate, that anger. So, but niyantum upachakrame. Upachakrame is attempted to niyantum, to control, to restrict anger. So, why he did that? That is told by Prabhupada in the purport. Because he understood that they are enlightened in spiritual advance. So, you see Prabhupada is saying that. Yeah, please read this highlighted portion.
Although the Kumaras were right in such acts of refusal, Brahma, being absorbed in the mode of passion, could not check his passionate anger. He did not express it. However, because he knew that his sons were far enlightened in spiritual advancement, and thus he should not express his anger before them.
Yeah, thank you. So, see, actually, it's one thing to understand that I have become angry and try to restrict and not express it. Because sometimes you come to know after expressing it, right? So that's what is the meaning of we are in the modes. If we are in passion and ignorance, then we express the anger and then we understand. Oh, I did something. But we are trying to go in goodness, then we understand that anger has come and I have to restrict now. I'll not express it. I will withdraw it within on. So I personally have a lot of challenges dealing with this anger. So I can, because I have done a lot of mistakes with the anger, so I can say very honestly that it is quite difficult, at least for me. There are some gentle, humble, submissive people. That's quite easy. But otherwise, it's a serious anger, durvishaham. As Krishna also tells in Bhagavad Gita, right? Kama esha, krodha esha, rajoguna samadbhava. Mahashano mahapatma viddhiyenam iha vairina. It is all devouring sinful enemy of this world. So Kama and Krodha, they are brothers. Like that. Is born from mode. Because he was in mode of passion while creating, he was affected by anger, but he could check that. Because he could reflect that why these people are saying, because they are enlightened in spiritual advance. So he restricted it. Right? Actually, tolerance is also a great virtue, as told in the NOI first verse. So anger word there is also there. Vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam. So such person who can tolerate these urges can make disciples all over the world. Right? So this tolerance also is a great virtue if we are able to practice. Right? So it is not that tolerance is how many years I have to keep on tolerating. So Krishna says that till the time you give up this body. I think there is one verse in 3rd chapter or 5th chapter. Praksharira vimokshana. Kama krodha vegam. Like that. There is one verse. So one has to tolerate these urges which will come. And as Prabhupada says, that one's greatness has to be estimated by the ability to tolerate provoking situations. So where
I think it is Shaknotaiva, Shaknoti Haiva, Sodum. That was.
Yes, that one. Shaknoti Hai Sodum, Prak Sharira Vimokshana. Till the time you leave this body, this metal body will have this urges, so we need to tolerate them. So where is this statement in Krishna book? Can someone say which pastime this is told? So that the Brahmaji's greatness will come and Krishna's greatness will come, or Vishnu's greatness. So where this statement comes, the $1 million statement, no? Very powerful statement of Srila Prabhupada. One's greatness has to be estimated by the ability to tolerate provoking situations. So which is the pastime where this statement comes? Any guesses? Then think about so many Krishna's pastimes and make some guess. Krishna. Yes, Prabhu?
Prithu Maharaj.
Huh?
Prithu Maharaj pastime.
No, it is in Krishna book, Prabhu.
Oh, Krishna.
10th canto, Krishna's pastime.
Okay.
Of course, the example which you gave also has connection here. About Prithu Maharaj becoming angry. But his anger towards earth was calculated anger, contemplated anger. It was not passionate anger. He thought about it and then he became angry. Yes, any other guesses about where is this statement of Srila Prabhupada? Brahma Vimohan Lila. No, their anger is not commented there. Any other guess?
Conversation between Krishna and his wife Rukmini. I don't remember. Is it that?
Conversation between Krishna and Rukmini? No, Krishna was teasing his wife to make her angry, but somehow Rukmini didn't become angry. That's the problem. So Rukmini, because her gentle nature, she didn't become angry.
Govardhan.
No, Govardhan Lila, no.
Kalia pastime.
No, all these nice pastimes you are telling, but yeah. Kalia pastime also, who became angry? Kalia only became angry, right? But Kalia,
Balramji's pastime about the Yamuna river, where he make into various strings by using a dhal.
yeah, nice. Nice. We are thinking about all different angers. Very good. But not this one. So there is hint in front of you here only written. Of course, that is sorry. If you see now, it is not Krishna's pastime directly, but Bhrigu Muni going to test. No, that is also in 10th canto only. So it is not directly Krishna. So I am sorry to inconvenience you by saying that it is Krishna's pastime, but it is in 10th canto. But it is a Lord Vishnu's pastime, right? And not so. Who is supreme? So Bhrigu Muni was sent, isn't it? Right? So when Bhrigu Muni went to Brahma, Brahmaji became angry because he didn't offer respect as son. When he went to Shiva, of course, there also Brahma controlled anger by intelligence, like this. When he went to Shiva, Shiva physically wanted to embrace him, but he criticized him, then Shiva became physically offensive. Brahma became mentally offensive, and Shiva became verbally offensive. And he wanted to attack also. Whereas Bhrigu Muni kicked the chest of the Lord when Lord was there on the lap of Goddess Lakshmi, I believe. It was very intimate, intimate past, it was very intimate place where Bhrigu Muni was allowed to enter. So he kicked her. There, Lord Vishnu responded by, taking the feet in his hand and, begging forgiveness. My dear Bhrigu Muni, please forgive me. I could not welcome you properly. Maybe because of my hard heart, your leg has got, so I can massage it. So actually there Prabhupada writes this statement, that one's greatness has to be estimated by one's ability to tolerate provoking situations. So when we say passion, getting affected by passion and ignorance is what you see in Brahma and Shiva. Actually, they are devotees and they are not under these modes, but they are taking care of these modes, so they touch these modes. So because of touch, they get affected sometimes. Like Shiva getting affected by hearing the words of Daksha. So not there, but later on he says to Sati that, it was piercing words. So this is all because of touch of mode of passion and ignorance to Brahma and Shiva respectively. But Lord Vishnu is not touched by Sattva, he is Shuddha Sattva. So Sattva means you are able to forgive. Forget about angry, you are able to forgive the other person who has done some harm to you. That is Sattva Gun. But Shuddha Sattva is further than that. That is depicted by the Supreme Lord. That is the nature of the spiritual world. So Lakshmi ji was also there. So what is Shuddha Sattva means? Lord is asking forgiveness from Bhrigu Muni. So this is Shuddha Sattva. So to tolerate also is a great virtue and we should practice that tolerance. But for that we have to come out of the modes or try to come out of them by practice of bhakti and appreciate the Supreme Lord's position over Brahma, Shiva, etc. So that's what this pastime actually shows. The whole, see, this chapter is very important. This last 2 chapters, this story comes. So this is the story which establishes Lord Vishnu's supremacy over other two. And the next story tells how Krishna is superior to Mahavishnu, where the Arjuna story is there, right? In the 10th canto. So that is the thing. So the tolerance is also a very good faculty and we should exercise this tolerance by restricting anger here in this context. Because anger is something which destroys relationship. And where in family or in community or in ashram or anywhere, one will able to see and one will have to deal with these things. But one has to be careful to try to restrict wherever it happens. Because it is going to happen. Right? So that's what is told here. Yeah. Then what happens? Please read the translation. Next translation.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hmm.
The
Yes, ma'am.
face of anger is the same whether exhibited due to ignorance or knowledge.
Translation.
Sorry, Prabhu. Although he tried to curb his anger, it came out from between his eyebrows, and a child of mixed blue and red was immediately generated.
Yeah. So now Rudra is manifesting. So even if you restrict anger, the Brahmaji is coming, something is coming out, right? And how it is, you can see. So that is, it is creation of destructing things. So anger is mode of passion and ignorance. So it will have a problem. So that is what is told now. Yeah, please read the next verse.
After his birth, he began to cry, "O destiny maker, teacher of the universe, kindly designate my name and place."
Yeah. So this Rudra, which has manifested through the anger of Brahma, is asking now, while he was crying, please tell me my name, Namani Sthanani. Hey Jagat Guru, give me that. Yes. So what else he says? Yeah. How Brahma replied? Please read ahead.
The all-powered Brahma was born from the lotus star, pacified the boy with gentle words, accepting his request, and said, "Do not cry. I shall certainly do as you desire."
Yeah. So Brahmaji is responding to the second child now, right? The first children were disobedient. Now second children are, see how they are. Yeah, please read the translation ahead.
Thereafter Brahma said, "O chief of the demigods, you shall be called by the name Rudra by all people because we have so anxiously cried."
Yeah, Rodhan, right? So that's why his name was Rudra. Right? So he is given a name according to his activity. Yes, and now name and place. So now place is given. So all the places of anger are mentioned here. So actually Rudra is nothing but the presiding deity of Ahankar, actually. So Ahankar is there controlled by Rudra. And Sankarshan is the Upasya deity of the Ahankar. Okay. So that's why you see in Rudra Gitam, we offer the prayers. The Lord Shiva only offers prayers to all these deities to get purified from it. Lord Shiva is only teaching. So that Rudra has 11 places which are given in the next verse as written here. Since the places starting with heart arise from Ahankar, they are suitable places for residence for Rudra, who acts as the presiding deity of Ahankar. In relation to anger, the heart is the birthplace of anger. So that's how. So let us see. So Hrudi Indriyani Asuryoma Vayuragnir Jalam Mahi Suryaschandra Tapaschaiva Thanani Agri Kritanite. Yeah, please translate.
My dear boy, I have already selected the following places for your residence: the heart, the senses, the air of life, the sky, the air, the fire, the water, the earth, the sun, the moon, and austerity.
Yeah. So these are the places where anger stays after taking birth. So Ahankar takes birth in heart, and that is Rudra principle. Right? So similarly, the anger also, and from heart it comes out through prana. So if you see, when a person becomes angry, he's he starts what you can say. Prabhupada explains all these things in his purport. He starts taking bigger and bigger breaths, right? So that is prana, and then one wants to pick up something and act also, right? Throw something. So that's how anger starts pervading the body. So that's how it manifests. The more we understand, more we can restrict. And one can even want to pick up something or throw or kick something, like that. So Indriyan, Asur is the life air, etc. So that is how it manifests within the heart. Apart from that, it is there in the elements also: earth, water, fire, air, ether. So all those elements also it manifests in a different way. So it is told in the purport. It manifests by some natural, like how it manifests in sky when the clouds rumble. So that is Rudra principle. Like that for Vayu, Agni, everything is given. And then there is Surya and Chandra in form of Teja. So there is there. And Tapaha is the last place. And Cha is mentioned. Cha means what? Not just Tapaha, but all four Vidya aspects. If they are without Bhakti, so Sankhya, Yoga, Tapaha, and Vairagya. So if these four are without Bhakti, then Rudra principle will manifest. So it's like Sway. You can say Sway is the short form of that. Sankhya, Vairagya, austerity, and Yoga. So if it is without Bhakti, then they will sway us towards Rudra principle. So we can see that in case of Prachetas, after doing austerity, after hearing from their father, they went and then they heard from Rudra. They followed water austerities. Lord become pleased with them. Lord blessed them with benedictions. But they, when they came out, what is that? Tapta Manyavaha. Tapaha Deepa Manyavaha means because of their austerity, they became angry at trees and they started burning the trees. Of course, their anger was for service because they wanted to rule. However, the Rudra principle worked there. So that's how it stays in the austerity also. So that's why austerity is also has to be done in a right spirit. Otherwise, it will have a negative effect. So Prabhupada explains all these things, how it is a very serious enemy, as I quoted earlier only. Kamaesha, Krodhaesha, Rajo Guna Samadbhava, 3.37. Prabhupada is saying that is Rudra principle. So
I have a trivial question here. So many times we hear from scientists that coal has come from the burning of the trees in the ancient ages and something. So can this maybe the burning of the trees, which were there throughout the whole earth, that is the cause of the coal formation in earth?
Hole,
it's a trivial question, but
which hole? I don't know. What?
Coal, C-O-L, coal.
Coal which is there inside the earth, that coal?
Yes.
Okay, interesting. Actually, I have no idea technically speaking, but one thing is that there is a lot of lava inside also, so that also can burn something. You don't have to burn something and put it under the earth. So lava also is there inside, that can also burn. So I have no idea, Prabhu. Scientifically, we may have to ask some. Like Shyam Sundar Prabhu kind of.
Because scientists say in the prehistoric times when some meteor hit, there was a fire, and then the trees became coal like that.
Yeah,
and that is how it is. So
that is one speculation, but we have to see what Shastra is saying. I have not heard. Maybe I will see in case if I get some information.
So I don't think any Shastra says anything about the coal reserve. But yeah, maybe. But anyway.
I don't know. Coal was existing earlier also, no? Coal was used by the traditional people also, no?
Correct. Yes, bro.
So let's see. I have no idea, actually, clear idea of it. Okay. So let us go ahead. When lust and hankering are unsatisfied, the element of Krodha appears, which is a formidable enemy for a condition. So the most sinful inimical passion is represented by Ahankar. So see, the problem is not the symptoms, the problem is the root. So root is Ahankar. If anger is there and lust is there, means what? Ahankar is there. So that has to be dealt with because it's a very serious enemy, most sinful and inimical passion. So even in Bhagavad Gita, Ahankar is not mentioned. But here Prabhupada is mentioning, no, Mahashano Mahapapma Vidya Enamiha Vairuna. But Prabhupada is attributing to false ego here. Because it's a Rudra principle. And Rudra is controlling deity or presiding deity of Ahankar. So false egoist attitude of thinking oneself to be all in all. So that is what is this. And it manifests, as I told, it takes birth in the heart because ego is there. And then it manifests through prana and the senses. So Prabhupada explains all that, and this already I told. Even the creatures like snake, tiger, they also show principles of Rudra. And we know Durvasa Muni and Shringi, they all showed some Rudra principle. So when the Rudra principle is exhibited by persons who are not engaged in bhakti, they fall down. So he says even the Vimukta Manina also fall down. Like that. So please read this translation. Very nice shloka which is there in the 11th canto. Yeah, please read this.
Some men practice severe penances to cross beyond our influence, which is like an immeasurable ocean with endless waves of hunger, thirst, heat, cold, and other conditions brought about by the passing time, such as the sensuous wind and the urges of the tongue and six organs. Nevertheless, although crossing this ocean of sense gratification through severe penances, such persons foolishly drown in cow's footprint when conquered by useless anger. Thus, they exhaust the benefit of their difficult austerities in vain.
See how powerful. Who is speaking this, you see? This Indra had sent Apsaras and some people to distract Nar Narayan Rishis in Badrikash. So there, Nar Narayan Rishi, the Supreme Lord and Arjuna, so they were not affected by any anger. Rather, he was smiling and he gave Urvashi. But they were praying to the Supreme Lord. That time, these heavenly demigods are praising the Supreme Lord like this. And they are telling about some people. So they cross the ocean of sense gratification. Can you imagine? Which is not so by severe penances. But they fall into ditch of anger. The hoof print, it's a small cow's hoof print of anger, they get drowned in them. So see how amazingly they are telling the danger of anger. So because it is false ego, that's Rudra principle. Right? So as I told earlier also, that all 4 layers can be removed. That is the ocean of sense gratification. But the real ego has not come, then Ahankar has not gone. So again you will fall into ditch of cow's hoof print of anger. So we hear about crossing the ocean of material existence of hoof print of calf, right? So now the same analogy is used for anger here. They drown in that hoof print of anger and they exhaust all the benefits of austerity in vain. Right? So this was the case with Shaubri Muni. So he kind of becoming angry and he actually offended our Garuda, right? So and then rest of the thing happened and Vishwamitra Muni as well. And so that's how it's a danger. And Indra did that only actually. So Indra even he approached, I think, who is that? To break his austerity only. What is when Indra got cursed and he got eyes all over the body? Who is that? Sage. Gautam Rishi, right? Gautam Rishi and her wife, Renu, I don't know, whoever it is. So Indra, knowing this principle that person becomes angry, then he will lose his tapobal. So that's what, they exhaust all their tapobal by anger. So actually anger is very dangerous. Right from, we are talking about these munis, but it is more dangerous when we stay in association closely in family or in ashram or in community. So because it breaks relationships, it creates distrust, it creates distances. So it's very important to actually work upon this and understand the root of it is ahankar. Right? So it's very, very dangerous for ourselves and others. It's like hot coal you keep in your hand with the desire to harm other person. Like that is told, anger is like that. It actually creates scientifically negative emotions and negative secretions in our whole existence. So it will problem ourselves and it creates problem for even others when it comes out. So all means it is a very danger, right? So remove the anger is there. So that's why you see here Rudra is created when Brahmaji becomes angry. So when we restrict anger also, the Rudra will get created and it will create some destruction. Now you see what Rudra is doing. Yeah, please read the translations quickly.
Lord Brahma said, "My dear boy Rudra, you have 11 other names: Manu, Mahin, Mahinas, Mahan, Shiva, Ratadvaj, Ugra, Reta, Bhava, Kala, Vamadeva, and Dhrutavarta.
Dhruta, Kala, etc. So see, he has given name, he has given 11 names, and now he will give wives also. Yeah, please read this.
Oh, Rudra, you also have 11 wives called Rudranis, and there are follow Dhi, Shruti, Rasala, Uma, Niyut, Sarpi, Ila, Ambika, Iravati, Swadha, and Diksha.
Yeah, so these are his wives. Yeah, please read ahead.
My dear boy, you may now accept all the names and places designated for you and your different wives. And since you are now one of the master of the living entities, you may increase the population on the large scale.
Yeah, so now the child was crying. He gave him what he asked for. He pacified him and he gave him. He gave him name, he gave him place. And with great anticipation, he started, now please help me. You start, increase the population. And opposite thing is going to happen here, which may happen in case of parents or whatever, any devotee who is taking care of some people or whatever. So that's what is happening here. Here, one important thing is actually everyone needs an identity and engagement. Everyone needs an identity and engagement means he wants a kshetra to work, to engage. Kshetra is required for working, right? Engaging himself. So it's very important because in the conditioned state, surely we need some identity and we need some place for us. We need a space where we can engage ourselves with whatever we can. So that's what was traditionally Varnashram system was. The identity was given, the place, the engagement was given, and it was very clear. And people were satisfied with that because it was according to the gross and the subtle body, right? But currently that is not very clear actually. That's why there is all confusion. Prabhupada says that in so many, 2-3 purports Prabhupada says, any social institution without this application of this principle will not grow in a healthy state. And people will not be successful and they will be confused, Prabhupada says. So that's why it is required. The name means identity and kshetra, place to be engaged. So by that, doing bhakti, we can transcend that. But we have to identify and engage it, and then we can transcend by engaging that in Krishna's service. So that is one principle which we can learn from Brahma. He is giving him. He is not asking that, why you want place? You are so small now. Why you want place now? He's not saying like that. He gave him. Right? Because he knows. So Prabhupada interestingly writes here, as the son can refuse the order of father for higher purpose, like what happened in Kumara's case, so the father can refuse to maintain his sons in increasing the population because of higher purpose. Father can refuse to maintain his sons in increasing population because of higher purpose. Right? So actually, the point is obedience or disobedience is one thing. What is important is why you are doing what you are doing. If higher purpose is there, then one can be disobedient, like we can see in case of the sons of Yayati. The Yadu was disobedient, but he was disobedient with higher purpose. And he is glorified, Yadoscha Dharmashilas. And we see Puru, who is the last son, was obedient. And he is also glorified. But there are middle 3 sons, they were also disobedient, but they are criticized because their disobedience was based on completely selfish motivation. There was no higher purpose there. So higher purpose is very important aspect of this. So we will see in one slide where this important principle will discuss. Yeah, please go ahead now with this great anticipation. Now he is little happy that okay, I'll have some progeny now. Yeah, but what happens? Ahead. Yeah, please read.
Prabhuji, a small question. Here it is written, so the father can refuse to maintain his son. So what is the exact meaning of it? The last sentence, father can refuse to maintain his sons in increasing population.
As far as I understand, it's like, see, he can go off from his duty like that. The father is supposed to do his duty, isn't it? Just as son is supposed to serve father, like Kumara, but for higher purpose, they refuse and it is accepted. So that is what. So the father can refuse to maintain his sons. Yeah, I think if anyone has hard copy, it's exactly same statement, right? Am I missed anything here?
No, Prabhuji, it is exact statement.
It is exact only. I have not missed any. It's like course of highlighting. He can refuse to maintain his sons in increasing population because of higher purpose. So here, my understanding of the statement of Prabhupada is that he can forego his duty of maintaining his son. In case...
Prabhuji, can we say it is like somebody taking sannyas while in grasthashram?
Actually, we can think, but how you make understand this part, increasing population. So that's how you see Prabhupada is saying, refuse to maintain his son in increasing population because of higher purpose. So I think taking sannyas is ideally speaking the person, as Prabhupada showed personally, right? He did his part, he did his duty. He raised his children and then he took sannyas, right? So that's the ideal way actually. So it is not that he just created children and left for sannyas. That is not the thing. But what I understand is increasing population is praja. So he can forego his duty. I think that is what I understand. It may be related to sannyas because the further pastime shows that actually he tells them that now you go for tapasya. So he didn't maintain he told them to stay separately, Rudra. Because they are not helping in his higher purpose of service. Like Brahma is supposed to create. But when Rudra is coming with his whatever wives, so they are creating children, we are creating destruction, which is going against his higher purpose of his service. So he says that you keep quiet and you do austerity now. So that is maybe Prabhupada is referring here. So that is my reflection. Okay. Anyone has any other thing to reflect on this statement of Srila Prabhupada? Okay, fine. So this is what I can think of. So let us go ahead. Yeah, please read ahead. 15th. The most powerful Rudra. Who is reading?
The most powerful Rudra, whose body color was blue, mixed with created being exactly resembling him.
Yeah. So his destructive activities began. Yeah, please continue, bro.
The sons and grandsons generated by Rudra were unlimited in number, and when they assembled together, they attempted to devour the entire universe. When Brahma, the father of the living entities, saw this, he became afraid of the situation.
Yeah. So opposite effects happening. So they are sometimes dangerous even to Rudra himself. So these Rudra's followers, Prabhupada comments, they attack him only, like Vrikasur we know, right? So this he wanted to enjoy Parvati by killing Rudra by Rudra's malediction only. Descendants of Rudra sometimes makes plan to kill Rudra by grace of Rudra. That is the nature of his devotees. And one more line you can write. That is his compassion to try to uplift. So such people, right? Vaishnavana Natashambhu. Yeah, please read ahead. Hare Krishna. Who is supposed to read? Please read.
Brahma told Rudra, "That's among the demigods. There is no need for you to generate living entities of this nature. They have begun to devastate everything on all sides with the fiery flames from their eyes, and they have even attacked me."
See, now Brahma, being a father, he is telling the problem at his hand. That, my dear Rudra, what is happening? Your progeny is creating all problems and they are attacking me also. They are devastating and they are attacking me also. So he is clarifying his problem and now he is instructing. Yeah, what he is saying? Please read. My dear son.
My dear son, you had better situate yourself in penance, which is auspicious for all living entities and which will bring all benedictions upon you. By penance only shall you be able to create the universe as it was before.
Yeah. So actually you have a unique creativity, but your creativity is not required right now. We can use your creativity later when it is required. So that is what is the way Brahma is dealing with this situation. Very respectfully. So that's what Prabhupada, yeah. 19th, please read.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, please.
By penance only can one even approach the personality of Godhead, who is within the heart of every living entity and at the same time beyond the reach of all the senses.
Yeah, so now he has instructed him to do tapasya and now he's further telling what is the purpose of tapasya. The pleasure of God, Krishna, you do tapasya. Because Lord is available, can be approached by penance. So Rudra was advised by Brahma to perform penance as an example to his sons and followers that penance is necessary for attaining favor of Lord. So this is for whom? It is like you instruct someone for the sake of instructing others, right? That is in Marathi we say Leki bole sune lage, right? The mother-in-law tells her daughter instead of telling daughter-in-law, right? So something similar is happening here. Brahma is telling Rudra for sake of instructing the followers. So that is what is telling. And then what happened to Rudra? Yes, please read.
Shri
Sri
Maitreya said,
Maitreya said, okay.
okay, Mataji, continue.
Yeah, please read.
Shri Maitreya said, thus Rudra, having been ordered by Brahma, circumambulated his father, the master of the Vedas. Addressing him with words of assent, he entered the forest to perform austere penances.
Yeah. So actually these verses you are seeing now, here we are able to see the proper dealing between authority and subordinate. Although there are challenges, but the dealing is very instructive. If you see, Rudra is also dealing properly. Although his followers are creating trouble, as soon as he was stopped, he was instructed, he said, okay, Vadamiti, I will go. He didn't say, what is this? And even Brahmaji is dealing with him very properly that, okay, you have a special skill, but right now we cannot use that. We'll use it later. So authority and subordinate is a very important dynamics in our society as well as in any house. It can be house or society or any place where people are together. No? So this authority subordinate dynamics is extremely important to properly understand and have proper exchanges, respectful exchanges, because we are dealing with devotees, or to be devotees. Whatever, devotee children may not have externally become devotees, but we can understand that they are devotees, right? Technically, they are devotees because no Tom, Dick, Harry takes birth in devotee family, right? So they have to be congenial. That is the best, either working or neutral. It's like lower and lower. Instead of being strained or forced relationships or non-working relationships. So anywhere you see, here we are seeing context of a family like Brahma and his children, or any family, children. So authority, parents are authorities. Elder brother is also authority in one sense. So, or in temple hierarchy system, or in any community, there is a proper system at place, right? So Krishna reciprocates through that system in the sense of, because Prabhupada wanted that this hierarchy system beginning with GBC should work together to progress and preach Krishna consciousness all over the world. So when it comes to the dynamics and relationship, we have to be very careful to actually maintain proper relationships amongst ourselves. So that is what is we can learn from this. So what are different learnings? That's what we will see here. Because everywhere there is a challenge, especially in period of Corona, there was more challenge in relationships for the people. What to speak of, devotees also face challenge, and outsiders faced even more challenges because they have to stay together for small place. So tolerating each other is not easy, right? So this world also we have to have proper, if we want to progress, we have to have proper interactions. As devotees, it's all the more responsibilities there. So that's why it's very important. Of course, so this we'll see later what I have written here. But Prabhupada wanted us to cooperate with the authorities, right? So one thing is to surrender to authority, which is the highest. But one may say that, okay, my authority is not a pure devotee. So Prabhupada knew that. That's why Prabhupada said, cooperate with the authorities. So cooperation means what? We have respectful disagreements. We have respectful differences of opinion. Because they are going to be there, even in family or in temple or in any other hierarchical system. It's the nature of the living entity to differ. And we can even keep distance. Like now Brahmaji is telling you keep, you do tapasya right now. Means what? He is distancing them. But it is respectfully keeping distance. Right? He is instructing him for pleasure of Krishna. So this is very, very important. Cooperation means there is a respectful interaction. So that is
I have a
number
question
one.
here.
Actually, Prabhu, I'll complete this, then we'll have.
Yes,
Because we have now we are about to end also. So I'll just make few points, important points, which are there. So that's why, as I said, the Sharanagati is highest with the authorities. So many people in the previously have shown that. So how authority should act. So authority should be mature to accommodate you and respect the inclination and concerns of subordinates. So whenever they are expressing something, we should be respecting them. We may not agree, or we may be having difference of opinion, but we have to respect first by hearing, giving ear to them, and try to accommodate, just as now Brahmaji is accommodating. His nature and inclination is destruction. Okay, I will engage you later. Right now, it cannot be engaged. So that is the first thing. Authority, a real authority will never exercise his authority as authority. Rather, he will be more of accommodative and mature to understand the inclinations, just as Narada dealt with Dhruva. Right? And not only that, the more important aspect is we work to inspire people in Krishna consciousness and engage them in Krishna consciousness. Engage in different activities of Krishna consciousness created by Prabhupada. And we want to inspire them in Krishna consciousness. We are not here to have some results. to hire and fire. If he helps me in my project, then I'll hire. If he doesn't help, I'll fire. So this is not the culture. Hire and fire. This is the culture of West or Western ideology. I should not use West because everything is West. Hire and fire means we are more interested in our own things to be getting done. So that is not the point. Or Sanat Kumar Sabu very beautifully said that when it comes to children, there will be, see, relationship mean expectations. And without expectation, there cannot be relationships because there is exchange, right? But there he was telling that we should not force our children, but give them experience of Krishna conscious activities. We should not be forcing children, you should do this, you should do this activity. But we have to facilitate their life in such a way that they will get an experience of Krishna consciousness. So this requires a lot of head scratch. This requires a lot of samvad. Samvad means heart-to-heart talk, where the person is able to express his concerns, his inclinations, right? So there is an honest communication which is existing, which Prabhu was mentioning today also, right? So we may be so much busy that we don't have time to even heartily interact with the people whom we are taking care of. Then that's not the best thing. So that is very important from the authority side. And Brahmaji is teaching us that here, that he is accommodating Shiva, Rudra and his followers, and he is telling them, now you don't do, you do later. And he is respectfully communicating. See, this is the problem I am facing. Your people are attacking me on, and they are creating something different than what I told you. So please, and this will please Krishna. This is the way he's communicating, right? So that is very, very important. So we do inspire people and in Krishna consciousness by proper education and example. Proper education is the foundation because the sound vibration is the real inspiration. And proper example, setting up and we engage them according to observing their expertise and inclination, not the way we want to do the things. Then it's not, they are becoming our servant, not Krishna's servant. And when it comes to subordinate, see, every one of us is either authority or subordinate or both. So we have to have both roles, each one being taught by one, we are teaching someone, right? So we are subordinates and we are authorities also. So as a subordinate, we have more responsibility in the sense of in this particular discussion. So the first thing subordinate has to have is he should be very respectful and sensitive in his dealings. And he should have willingness to cooperate and obey. He may not be able to do it, but the willingness has to be there, which can be expressed. So be ready to obey. So the highest is like Priyavrat Maharaj. You can forego your bhakti also with the sacrificing spirit just to obey the orders of superiors. So this is the highest, like Priyavrat Maharaj did, or Puru or Yayati case. So in this case, what is important is why we are doing what we are doing. So sincerity of purpose, like the Yadu also had sincerity of purpose, so he rejected. So that is also appreciated. So we have to see whether I can handle it. We just we have to be like here. You can see this is what Radha Gopinath Prabhu's statement, very profound statement. Sincerity of purpose is most important, while we are striving for sanctity of heart, sanity of head, sensitivity of dealings, and seriousness in practice. So whatever we are accepting, it should be over a period of time, we should observe this. That's what Radha Gopinath was saying, that we have to observe these things. Am I sanctity of heart is increasing? Am I becoming sane in head? Am I becoming sensitive in my dealings? And my seriousness in practice is increasing on. So we can see these two examples I have given. So Varsana Maharaj and Radhanand Maharaj. So their consciousness level was so surrendered that they could deal with any schedule without any problem. But was it the case with all other New Vrindavan residents? No. They were not having same consciousness as these two people who are right now sannyasis and they are at the highest level of Krishna consciousness, right? But they had high consciousness, so they surrendered to something which was very, very, so to say, impractical, right? So, but we don't have to do that. Neither we are expected to do. We have to have samvad with the authority. And there are another two examples of disobedience. One is obedience, one is disobedience. So just now we had His Holiness Guru Prasad Swami Maharaj. So he was telling in one of our classes here to brahmacharis that my authority told me to get married. And actually he left the temple that time. And he served in other temple and he came back after 1-2 years. And then authority told that actually I tested you. So, sincerity purpose is very deep. And whereas Sankarshan Das Adhikari Prabhu was same told by GBC to marry. But what he is doing now, he married also, but both of them are like sannyasi. Because he just followed the order. So one who didn't follow, who followed. The point is, what is sincerity of our purpose? Why we are doing what we are doing? So that is, so if we are able to sacrifice and have proper head, heart interactions, then it's fine. Otherwise, the next better option is we can hesitantly express our inability that Prabhu, I have these concerns. I have these challenges in whatever is told to me. This is what is happening. I understand your needs, interest, and concerns. So this we should try to understand this other side. However, we can express, hesitatingly express, honestly, but hesitating. So this is what four Kumaras are telling. Yadu is doing. That is not, may not be the highest, but it is progressive. Right? It's a progressive. But the danger is we should never be political or diplomatic. This is all spoils, it increases the weeds in the relation. There is no trust. So that's the problem. We say yes, but we don't do, or we do half-heartedly or like. So that is not going to help anyone. As Duke Goswami says, we should be simple and straightforward, right? So no political, no diplomacy. That okay, I can manipulate the authority. It is never going to work. Maybe it will work in the system, but Krishna will not be happy. And the danger is incorrigibility. Means what? One becomes such a person that no one can instruct him. People fear to instruct that person. That is the most dangerous thing which can happen to a practicing devotee. So, disciple tries to serve Guru internally under any authority, seeing them as representative of Guru. So actually, this is the highest principle which was followed by these two personalities which I said. They could see Srila Prabhupada's pleasure in their activities. So we should strive for this. Easier said than done. That able to see spiritual masters, spiritual master in any authority. Means the pleasure is of spiritual master. So that is the Sharanagati Bhava. So these are some dynamics which we can try to practice, and I have put down here to be very frank with you. I had challenges, but I am trying to work upon them. But these are some reflections by which we can make our relationships more congenial, because congenial is the most important. We should not just remain neutral or working relation or official relation. That is not going to help anyone progress in Bhakti. But we should be congenial in relation and this can happen by our proper samvad and sincerity. So with these words, maybe we'll continue tomorrow, the rest of the chapter. Okay. So, yes, I think Prabhuji has left. He had something. Yeah, Ramkishore, you had something or someone else was having something?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, the question is, sometimes, devotees are differently situated, and therefore one must respectfully, respect others' opinion, or sometimes agree to disagree also. So on certain viewpoints. But in such a case, then we sometimes find the injunction that one must be very elated to see a devotee. But if there is some amount of difference of opinion, at that same time following this principle of feeling elation while just seeing the devotee, that sort of doesn't happen. So how do we ensure that sometimes we have to keep distance from somebody. That is okay, but at the same time, we also feel elated while seeing him.
Yes, Prabhu. So that's why I'm saying, actually, we have to have a respectful distance. So respectful distance is different than just keeping distance. So when I said that, what it means is we have to separate the person and his opinion. So we may disagree, but the person is a devotee. He's chanting Hare Krishna. He's serving his spiritual master. So we can appreciate that part of his. And by that, remembering that, we can try to become elated. Easier said than done, as you said.
Yes, that is what I was.
But we have to practice this, because this is Mahat Prabhu. As defined by Sati, when Sati in the arena, she burnt herself while criticizing her father, saying that you are Ati Asattam. Means she told all the levels, Shiva is Ati Mahattam and you are Ati Sat. Means what? Ati Mahattam is the greatest person. But who is Mahat? One who sees both. He sees faults and he sees good qualities. But he sees the faults as potential good qualities if they are engaged. So it's a practice to try to see the devotional part of a person, because you are talking about practicing devotee, isn't it? Where we have some difference.
Yes, bro.
So he's already practicing Krishna consciousness. So we have to see that. Just as I give example, which is quite like Brahmaji, when he sees a devotee chanting Hare Krishna for the first time, he starts making Madhupark for that person. You have heard this? Means what? He's going to worship him in future. So his faith on chanting Hare Krishna is so much that just time is separating, that this person, he will go back to Godhead, and while going, I will give him Madhupark. So he starts making Madhupark. Like that, there is one verse. So point is, more we experience Bhakti, more we respect Bhakti in our own heart and experience, more we appreciate people who possess little bit of Bhakti and able to fully respect them. Right? And it is not a matter of some technique. It's matter of try to cultivate vision and purification of heart. It's not some technique of managerial techniques are there which are talked about. So this Gudakesh Prabhu said, the more we actually appreciate what process we are following, how powerful is this process, what all it can do, what all it has done to me. So then we'll able to appreciate little bhakti in others, and that we can see more than the maybe little some disagreement, some wrong interactions which happened with them. So we have to adjust our vision by unzooming that part and zooming this part, like that, and it takes some contemplation to do that. So that is the thing.
Thank you so much, bro.
That's some thoughts. Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. You seem to be traveling somewhere.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, we are traveling.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much for attending the class in spite of that. Hare Krishna.
It was nectar, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Hare. Anyone else has any reflections, questions, clarifications, corrections? Yashika Mataji, you had said you had some questions about previous thing, so may not be now.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So,
I guess I forgot.
so anyway, my suggestion to you is, when you get question, you can write down, because any questions about Bhagavatam is glorious. Even if you write down, you can, I am not saying you should ask me only, you can ask anyone, but note it down. It is very good practice. Like today, Prabhuji was saying actually, you can read this verse. What is that? 1:3:39 he was telling. The other 1:3:39, or that verse says about the glories of inquiry. And so that's why it's very important. Yes. Anyone else has anything?
Prabhuji, actually, I have a question from previous cantos.
Yeah, that's what you were saying last time. So this verse number is
Am I audible,
1339.
Prabhuji?
1339 you can see. Yeah, please go ahead.
Prabhuji, it's like when Dhritarashtra was leaving his body, then Vidura ji, Vidur Maharaj, he prescribed him. I mean, like उन्होंने मतलब उनको बोला था कि आप मतलब
भक्ति नहीं कर पाया ना, भक्ति नहीं बोल पाया उनको.
भक्ति नहीं कर पाए, मतलब
करेक्ट
उन्होंने उनको मतलब वो जो अष्टांग योग वाली मतलब बताया उनको.
करेक्ट करेक्ट
तो
एंड ही
प्रभु जी
बर्न्ड
मतलब
हमसेल्फ.
भक्ति क्यों नहीं प्रिस्क्राइब करी? एक्चुअली जब आने वाला जो टाइम है, एक्चुअली मतलब वो द्वापर युग जो था मतलब वो फिनिश हो रहा था और कलयुग जो है वो आने वाला था. तो यहाँ पे तो कलयुग में हम जगाई मदाई को भी मतलब भक्ति प्रिस्क्राइब कर देते हैं, मतलब हम सबको ही भक्ति सिखा रहे हैं मतलब जैसे.
बराबर.
तो उनको मतलब हायर प्लैनेट्स की तरफ भेजा मतलब, और मतलब अष्टांग योग करा. और अर्जुन बोलते हैं कि भाई मतलब मैं अष्टांग योग नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ, मतलब मैं इतना वो नहीं हूँ. बल्कि उन्होंने क्या किया, उन्होंने अष्टांग योग कर लिया और थोड़े टाइम में मतलब बॉडी भी मतलब वो कर दिया,
या सो
मतलब वो सक्सेसफुल हो गए मतलब उसमें. तो ये ऐसा कैसे मतलब ये वाली मेडिसिन ही क्यों प्रिस्क्राइब करी गई उनको?
very good question. That why did Vidura, who left his Krishna Katha, no, he came from Yamaraj Loka to hear Krishna Katha. From Maitreya, he heard 2 cantos and he left to deliver Dhritarashtra. And he didn't give bhakti, you know. Why did he do that? That's the question. It's one part of question, right? So yes, any reflections, any other devotees? Very nice question this is.
Prabhuji, I think we had discussed this earlier.
Yeah, that's why
It
I
seems
asked.
that Krishna had committed many offenses against the Pandavas who were pure devotees, and therefore was actually ineligible for this pure devotional service. And Vidura was actually very much saddened that he had taken this impersonal path, and he was actually very, very saddened at that point.
Yes,
And
perfect.
this is one. And ultimately, Krishna only can tell who is eligible for bhakti and who is not yet ready.
Yeah, Krishna can tell surely, but yeah, as you said correctly, that it's offense which make his heart not receptive to bhakti. Although Vidura can give bhakti, he is more than qualified to give bhakti. Same Narada was qualified to give bhakti to Daksha, but did he take it? Daksha criticized Narada. Daksha cursed Narad Muni, and Narad Muni was prepared to hear all that anger, because once anger is expressed, it becomes Shanta. But still Daksha could not accept bhakti from Narada. Narada is Bhakti Shakti incarnation. He is given bhakti to so many. The only same reason is trace of offense to a great Vaishnava, Shiva. So the same problem, as Prabhuji rightly said, Ramkisha Prabhu, that he had done offenses to great devotees. So his heart was like a barren land. So even seed of bhakti is given, it cannot grow in that. So that's the danger of offense actually.
In case of Jagai Madai, they had done all sins but except offense to devotees.
Yeah, correct. In the sense that they were not knowing that these are devotees, so that way they are not offensive in that sense. They are ignorantly doing activities, and you see that the response of Jagai Madai also, right? The Madai responded in a different way, and yes, so Nityanand Prabhu's mercy was there, special mercy to Jagai Madai. So Jagai Madai's case is special case, as well as they didn't kind of see Dhritarashtra, the way he offended Jagai Madai were not like that. Dhritarashtra was knowing the wrong things. Still he was doing. He was saying to Vidura, he was saying to Akrura also, whatever you are saying, very nice. But I can't do that. But Jagai Madai were not like that. Jagai Madai were outrightly sinful. They were like ignorant in that sense. So there is a difference here. Sins are not a problem. Offense is a big problem. So that's the reason. Okay.
Prabhuji, is there any limit of offenses or something?
Huh? What is that? I could not hear.
Is there any limit of offenses? मतलब कितने offense allowed हैं मतलब?
Allowed तो एक भी नहीं है.
मतलब उनके क्या बहुत ज्यादा हो गए थे मतलब जब?
Oh, like that. Hmm. I don't know. Imagine a Mahabhagavat comes, he is trying to give bhakti, still nothing is working. Right? Narada is, Vidura is a pure devotee. He has planned. Can you imagine? They have planned to make them devotees on, but they are unable to do. So my feeling is it's not about how many, it is about whom you offend. It's like Mahat Aprad. That's what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says actually. The four Kumaras actually offended Jai Vijay. This is Loka Shiksha I am saying. So they could not attain Dasyaras. They could attain only Shantaras. So actually it matters whom you offend also. Because more it is closer to the Lord, more Lord takes it very seriously. So that's what Narada says. When he goes back from Daksha's place, he comments that, my Lord, such is the danger of trace of offense to a great soul. So trace only was there because Daksha had begged forgiveness. With the goat head, he begged nice prayers he offered. It is not that he was not begging forgiveness, but the trace remains. That trace creates the problem in receptivity of bhakti. So it's about whom you offend. Because Mahat Aparad, that's why we have to be very careful. You know what Kapil Dev says because of this? That offense to pure devotee is most dangerous. So what is safe side? That please respect everyone. So that you can never disrespect pure devotee. Because there are many pure devotees, but one doesn't know. Like that he says in third canto. So Lord Kapila is telling that better to avoid disrespecting pure devotees, better respect every living entity. Like that. In great anger, he says. So the danger is, the more advanced the devotee is, more danger is the offense. So it's not about how many, but it's about whom we are offending. And to that degree, the effect happens. So in case of Dhritarashtra, it was his close members. However, we can accept the fact that he is part of Lord's inaction also. But we can take this lesson also with that. Okay. Only Shishupal was allowed some number, no? 100. Till 100 you can go. So he was very intelligent to restrict. But that day, Maya acted on him also on that last day when he was supposed to die. Till that time, he was knowing till 100 I can do. But we don't know like that anything. How many offenses are like that? Okay.
Prabhuji, actually, that person who is doing offenses towards any person is an ignorant one. मतलब उसको पता ही नहीं होता कि मतलब वो कर रहा है कुछ ऐसा मतलब तो फिर अब वो तो मतलब अज्ञान वाली स्टेट में ही है तो फिर उसको मतलब थोड़ा माफ वाफ
वही ना देखो अज्ञान वाली भी है लेकिन नाउ रूप गोस्वामी देयर इज वन थिंग इज इग्नोरेंट अदर इज इनोसेंट I don't not say innocent but unintentional offense happens. You don't tend to commit offense but it is taken as offense also, right? So ignorant is actually, can you give example of that ignorant? Means not knowing you ended up offending or means or ignorant of whether aparadh is happening or not. Yes. Because Rup Goswami's example, you know, no? He was meditating on Leela and I know one person was passing and he laughed in the Leela because Radharani went on the that pastime, right? While plucking flowers. So he laughed because he was immersed in the pastime of Radha Krishna. But that laughter was taken by the person who was walking, and he took offense. That Rup Goswami laughing at him. So his Leela Smarana was broken because of that. Now he didn't offend, but the other Vaishnava Vrajvasi took it as offense. But that also had effect on Rup Goswami's Samadhi. His Leela Smarana was broken. Then what he came to Sanatana Goswami suggested him that Prabhu, you might have committed some offense. So what you do? You give feast to all the devotees. And one who will not come to the feast will the person whom you have offended. So the acharyas are dealing with this, can you imagine, like this. So we know what they used to eat, right? But now for this particular thing, Sanatana Goswami is telling him, you arrange for a feast. And then that person did not come. Then they understood, okay, he displeased him. Then he begged forgiveness and all. So that way it is. But I don't know. So this is unintentional. But the mental world is so dangerous that we have to be careful. But I don't know, when you say ignorant means what it is. I don't know. I could not understand it. But it is clear for me. Okay, that's good. It's fine. So we have to be careful. That's all. Yes, Prabhu. Anything else? Any other thing? Okay, fine, Prabhu. So tomorrow will be the last day of your tolerance. This chapter will get over tomorrow, and then continue with other unit. Okay. So thank you all very
It's
much.
so nectarian. We feel you please continue.
Yeah, Bhagavatam is like that, Prabhuji. So that will continue anyway. So wonderful.
Prabhuji, we will really miss you.
No. You may miss me, but you will get better. You will get better and better. Wonderful. Different devotees glorify Bhagavatam. Wonderful. I'm so happy to see many of you are, husband, wife doing this course. It's nothing better than this, Prabhu. This is too good. Very nice. Please continue, and thank you. Thank you very much for your encouragement. Hare Krishna.
Please come again, Prabhuji, soon for another unit.
Yes, Prabhu, your tolerance level, if Krishna wants to increase your tolerance, then I will come. If I am instructed, I will come. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Prabhupada ki jai, Granth Rashi Madhva.
Jai.
Thank you so much.
Jai.
Jai.